pleasure to introduce our speaker today, Karin Jenness. Karin was drawn to the fellowship about 7 years ago, and she humbly joined the fellowship, seeking to find where she could fit in and be of assistance, volunteering in many capacities. And this I did see, and I was just amazed that she showed up everywhere. So anyway, wow. Her love for this church and this fellowship community grew, and in January 2024, she was ordained as a pastor of this fellowship, and is currently serves on the pastoral council, and she is also a member of the fellowship board of directors. Karin is taking on the role as a Sunday school teacher for our older children, ages 8 and up, being a former teacher. And Karin is also a retired LPN specializing in elder care, and felt honored to assist families when their time came for a loved one's transition from this world to their spiritual home. One of Karin's favorite things is to assist Sharon Solomon in the reestablishing and organizing of the Paul Solomon Library. She says, and I quote, "I feel so lucky to be able to hear firsthand from Sharon the incredible stories and lessons Paul gifted to us all through his teachings and readings." End quote. So let us open our hearts and minds to receive Karin's inspired message. Karin?
Hi. Hello. It's really great to see all of you here, and really, I can honestly say all of you are people that I really care about and love, so it's really great that you came out today. And I welcome people who will be seeing this later. So, yeah, first off, just maybe to stretch a bit, this will help you move, I hope, just a little bit. Stand up if you have made another journey around the sun in the last 12 months and had a birthday. No, I said stand up, and I mean it. I said stand up. And then I want you to look around at everybody and see that we all have this thing in common, don't we? You can sit down now. We're all getting older. Yep, we're all getting older. But Christiane, you're getting younger. Well, some of us are getting younger, but generally speaking, we're all getting a little older. Christiane Northrup is a doctor, an obstetrician, gynecologist, and an author. You might be familiar with her. And she said, getting older is inevitable, but aging is optional. And Mark Twain said, age is an issue of mind over matter. If you don't mind, it don't matter. In many parts of our world today, particularly this country in the West, aging is considered to be something negative, to be avoided at all costs. We are constantly bombarded through social media, magazines, TV, of the necessity to stop aging, prevent aging. You know, we don't want those horrific wrinkles and gray hair. You know, a lot of times it's so mind-boggling to me that some of these people on these commercials for Botox are like 25, if that, and they're telling me, oh, yes, you must get Botox. I have Botox. And I'm like, please. If you were 60, maybe I'd listen to you. Maybe I'd, but come on, you're 20. And it just makes me feel really sad for the young people today, the young women and girls that think that they have to buy into this, and they've almost been brainwashed. And you've probably seen them. You've seen the young girls now that have the it's not 1 inch, like almost 2-inch long eyelashes. And most of us here are about the same age. I mean, back in the day, I might put a little mascara on, and I might use one of these things. Now, if you're a woman, don't say what this is. A lot of you may know. Raise your hand, men, if you know what this is. Men. If you're a man and you know what this is. Well, of course, John knows. But anyway, a lot of you men do know. But I have a funny story about that, actually. My daughter had a friend whose father was actually a pediatrician, and he found one of these in his teenage daughter's bedrooms one day, and he was very concerned because he thought it was like some kind of a birth control device or or something. That's a true story. But anyway, so Jimmy Buffett said something I really like, and he said, "Wrinkles will only go where the smiles have been." And then Douglas MacArthur said, age wrinkles the body, but quitting wrinkles the soul. And he was not one to quit. Anyway, in addition to those eyelashes I was speaking of, a lot of times you see the girls that do the contouring on the nose because their nose has to be perfect, and the plumped lips, and they do the implants, so they got the Kim K booty and all these things. And I'm really happy that I wasn't born during that generation because that's tough today. Let's send out prayers for those young girls. But, I wonder, they work so hard at getting this outer beauty because they think if they don't, they're not going to be able to attract that man or that partner. And ironically, the kind of people they will attract are going to be superficial people who, the minute they start showing signs of aging, they're going to be looking elsewhere. But, a lot of things do get better with age. And I think, can we come up with some right now? Anybody, can you name something that does get better with age? I know you can. Just shout it out. Wine. What? Wisdom. Very good. You do? That's fantastic. Cheese, I heard someone say. Anything else? There's a lot more, actually. Okay. Well, thank you. Suck up. Okay, he's living with me. He doesn't want me to kick him out. Okay, me and Jack. Okay, so here's some other things. Brandy, wine, whiskey, pickles, and spaghetti, right? Doesn't spaghetti always taste better the next day, and the sauce and everything? Fine leather, jeans. Jeans feel so much better when they've aged. Flannel, slippers, and shoes. A shade tree. It gets much better as it ages. Diamonds. And many flowers reach the peak of their scent as they age. How about senior citizen discounts? Yeah, right? And studies have actually been done, and as Deborah said, wisdom, expertise, and skills, empathy, decision-making, and actual emotional intelligence does get better and increase as we age. So, yeah, sadly, we're conditioned to just almost be repulsed by naturally aging faces, heavily wrinkled faces. And I think to myself, the modeling industry has started embracing overweight models. You've probably seen that now. We see more and more overweight models. And I thought to myself, if we just would see more people that are aging naturally, then we might also get to that place where we're not kind of going, oh boy, they've really been out in the sun too long. Jack has done a very wonderful thing for me. He has put together a great slideshow, and we're going to show it while I'm talking. And hopefully you can hear me and also see this. It's going to repeat, so if you missed a quote, they're not all quotes, but if you missed something, it'll come back to you. But he's going to be showing that, and Jack, again, thank you so much. I really appreciate you doing this. So try to listen to me, too, as I continue with the talk, and then enjoy these beautiful, beautiful faces up here and quotes. I've heard Sharon and John speak about a lovely woman that is no longer on this earth plane named Tamasan. And I've heard them both speak about how Tamasan was old. How old was she when she? 80, 90. And really wrinkled little lady, but there was just this innate beauty that just emanated from her. And we all know the eyes are the window of the soul, and many of these pictures that you'll see these wrinkled old people, but boy, is there a beauty coming through them. And you'll even see them smiling, and even if they don't have any teeth. And then sometimes we have to kind of get used to that look too, but it's okay. Yeah, Jack, you gotta love Jack. So in our Western culture, and in particular this country, we tend to dismiss our elders. Like, what purpose do they serve? We're such a goal-oriented society. I think we think if they are past retirement years, they're past child rearing and childbearing years. It's like, well, what purpose do they serve? Yet we know that they do serve a great purpose of just being there for us and giving us guidance and wisdom. And unfortunately, sometimes we don't even see them. How many times are you out in public, and hopefully not you, but you'll see people that just walk past them as if they're not there, don't even look at them, don't acknowledge them, and it's like they're not even there, or they're invisible. The stories and lessons they learn are incredible too. I did become an LPN as a second career after my divorce, and I knew right away I was drawn to the elderly population. And what I wanted to do, what appealed to me the most, was not only taking care of their appointments and medicines and, activities of daily living and things like that. I just really wanted to be their companions and help them be seen and help them feel heard. And I learned firsthand these experiences and stories. And we have people among us as well that have so many incredible stories and experiences if we take the time to find out. Deborah, my dear friend, for one, you'd be amazed at the stuff this woman has accomplished, and Annette, and I know I'm going to leave people out. But seriously, people that have just done so many things. Marilyn Madeline's not here today, but she's just told me some amazing things she's done and learned, and they're right around us all the time. I wanted to get one of Dalai Lama, but I didn't get him, but he kind of looks like Dalai Lama a little bit. But anyway, so I would encourage you to, let's try to really notice these people as we go about our day, because many times they're just not. And I'm saying a lot. I hate that. But anyway. In other cultures around the world, it is considered an honor to help the elders. And they're revered, and they're almost put on pedestals. And they are really, really special to their neighborhoods and their families and their societies. Even animal species are known to apparently value their elders in their groups. They seem to hold vital roles. Elephants are one. And I don't know if you know this. This is really interesting, I found. Young killer whales, and they've done research on this, who lose a grandmother actually are 4 to 5 times more likely to die within the next 2 years than the young whales that still have their grandmothers. And they hypothesize this is because they have a vital role in teaching them how to catch salmon and fish and how to survive. And if you look at Eastern cultures, it's a very different thing than the West. I kind of researched a little bit different countries. In China, and I'm not a huge fan of the overly intrusive controlling government of China these days. However, you're shamed if you place your elderly parent in a nursing home or something. It's a shame. You're shamed. And they have an elderly rights law that warns against children neglecting their elderly parents, and you must visit your elderly parents no matter how far away you live. And if you're not, you're fined and sometimes jailed. That's a little extreme, but still. Japan, elders are at the top of the social hierarchy. They have a national holiday to celebrate the elderly and honor their contributions. Now, I don't know, we don't have that, do we? I don't think we do. I think we need it. In India, the elderly are considered definitely the head of the family. They help raise the grandchildren, and their advice is always sought. If there's a dispute in the family, they have the final say, no matter what. And it's a real social stigma there as well, that if you disrespect the elders of the family, there's a real social stigma. In Africa and among Muslims and Koreans, aging is something that they don't look at as a horribly negative thing. The elder people are held in highest regard and esteem, and it's an honor to look after them because they're still considered to be a valued asset. Africa also looks at aging very differently. They believe it's just a part, dying and aging is a part of the circle of life. So that helps contribute, I think, somewhat to their value almost of aging. Vietnam and the Philippines have some interesting little traditions. If an older person extends their hand to you in Vietnam, you're to take it in both of your hands, and you hold it, and you do it with both hands to fully embrace them. And if they don't extend a hand, then you bow courteously to them. So if you go to Vietnam, remember that. In the Philippines, they have a mano po tradition, and mano means hand, and the phrase means your hand, please. And what they do there is the younger person will take the hand of the older person, and they hold it to their forehead. I'm thinking third eye, that was kind of neat. And then they also have a pagman mano gesture, where an elder's right hand, it's not unusual for it just to very gently tap the forehead of the younger person. Has anybody been to the Philippines and witnessed that or anything? I haven't. I know some people, I should ask them, that are Filipino. Say that again? Maybe you can ask him about that tradition or something. Yeah. Mano po, pagmamano. Okay. So Winston Churchill, he has so many wonderful quotes, and he said, "We are happier in many ways when we're old than when we are young. The young sow wild oats, but the old grow sage." And age is irrelevant. Ask me how many trips I've taken, or sunsets I've seen, or laughs I've shared, or concerts I've been to, or people I've loved. That's how old I am. And that's unknown. I don't know who said that, but I like it a lot. Among Native American cultures back in the day, they didn't measure things in years. It's a man-made time concept that they didn't really honor. And they would measure things like 6 moons. You might have been, every 6 moons was a time period. From the first snowfall to the last snowfall was a time measure. The time that it took the sun to pass from one place to the other on the horizon, that was more like for days. But again, in their tribes, elders, and we know this, were protectors, mentors, teachers, keepers of wisdom, and they were responsible for transmitting the cultural identity. I don't know why I keep taking these off. I can't see if I keep them on. They also served food to the elders first. They never were to step ahead of an elder in line going from one place to the other. And they would avoid direct eye contact. So those are just some interesting traditions and ways that other cultures, particularly in the East, but among Native Americans as well, choose to honor their elderly. As you've been watching the slideshow, you may have seen many beautiful people highlighted that did not fit the traditional definition of beauty. But their eyes, like I said before, the eyes say it all. They transmit that inner light, that inner wisdom and knowing, even though they're wrinkled and weather-worn and life-soaked people. But they just have that gleam. We all know some things that you can't possibly learn or understand until you live longer and you're given some time and experience and wisdom. We know experience is the best teacher. We say that all the time. And that's the wisdom that's revered by so many cultures. We learn also as we get older to accept things. We've heard the phrase, don't sweat the small stuff. Winston Churchill had another great quote that I love that ties into something else I think we tend to do or not do as we get older. We don't care quite so much about other people's opinions of us. It's taken me a long time to get there. I'm still growing in that regard, but that is really valuable. And Winston Churchill's quote that ties into that a little bit, he says, when you're 20, you care what everybody thinks about you. When you're 40, you don't care what anybody thinks about you. And then when you're 60, you realize nobody was thinking about you in the first place. Yeah, other people's opinions of you are none of your business. That's a good thing to remember. There's a woman named Marie von Ebner-Eichenbach. She's an Austrian writer who died in 1916, and she even acknowledged that in youth we learn, but in age we understand. we're taught as children. How many times are we told, respect your elders, respect your elders? At least our generation was. And somewhere along the way, we seem to have forgotten what that really means. Yes, you might be respectful and call them Mr. or Mrs., and you might be polite. But, you know, respect is about more than that, too. It's about realizing their value. Okay, well, maybe not him so much anymore, but he's just kind of cute to look at and entertaining. But anyway, it's really important to try to acknowledge them, see them, hear them, listen to them. And I encourage you this week as you go about your week, and I alluded to this a little bit earlier, you know, take a moment to really take note of the elderly people that you encounter, whether it's the grocery store, the post office, maybe a doctor's office, here, anywhere, maybe in your neighborhood. And just give them a little love, give them a little attention, ask them a question, acknowledge that they look pretty in that dress or whatever. I've made a point to do that before, and they just light up. It just makes their day because they're not used to anybody really even noticing them a lot of times. And, you know, as you do this, and this has happened to me, you may find that these people aren't a lot older than you. But that's okay, because we need that too sometimes, don't we? And remember, and I'm probably ending this really, how much time do I have left? Okay, well, I've got something else we can do too that may or may not take up some time. Gosh, her eyes, look at her eye. Look at that beauty in that blue. Oh my gosh. Okay. But, you know, this is another important quote that I think is something we need to try to remember. Age is simply the number of years that the world has been enjoying you. I like that one a lot. You know, we're all, as we said earlier, growing older. We all have amassed wisdom along the way. Is there anything that's really stuck out to you as you've gotten some years under your belt that you realize, wow, that was a big lesson, that was profound, that you might want to share with somebody or us right now? Anything that comes to mind? Okay. Yeah, that's a good one, isn't it? It's hard. Okay. What Steve said was, don't sweat the small stuff. And, you know, it's easier said than done sometimes, isn't it? But honestly, it is kind of all small stuff. You know, I want to also take a moment to reiterate what Sharon said. I really hope more of you come to some of the things that John is doing and that Sharon is doing, because that right there is one thing John has been reiterating. We're all actors. This is a play we're in, okay? We've all volunteered to come here to learn things, to help other people learn things. And when it's all done, we're going back to our true source and what we really are. And we're going to look back and we're going to see all this drama. We're going to see all these stories we've created and go, what were we worried about? Why did we get wrapped up in that? Or maybe we won't even have the time for it then. But anyway, so I just, as I said, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And I think that as we all continue to grow a little older together, let's try to really pay attention to the people around us that might need a little lifting up because of those years they've accumulated. So, thanks very much.